You were the main guy. You leave to join a team that won the Champions League and the league before you got there. You don't win the Champions League. You don't win the league. No one expected Barcelona to win it. And now the club that you left, where people might have seen you as the problem, goes and wins the Champions League.
We've said this 3 times already. I get the story. I know what we're talking about. This is a Twitter argument. This is a social media argument. We don't know how Mbappe's feeling.
On the Mbappé front, then, yes, I'm sure deep down he's going to be happy for PSG and them finally winning the Champions League. But will it feel a bit bitter for him, Grell, do you think, tonight?
Yeah, for sure. You went to Real Madrid probably to win the Champions League, compete in the Champions League, and then they don't win and they don't dominate. They don't look very good this year all around. And then PSG win, which you think you're leaving there. There's no chance they can win without you, right? I think we all had doubts of what PSG could do. I think it felt still like a project that needed time. And for them to accomplish what they did in a year is just tremendous. So for sure, you'd be bitter. I can't think of many clubs that I've left that the year after I want to see them winning, because obviously that means like you were the issue, you know? So not a good feeling right away. But yeah, we'll see. Still next season to go. Real Madrid, Mbappé will still be there. So there's still a lot to fight for. And actually a good point, because for PSG now, can you do it again, right? You won the treble, teams have won the treble, but no one has been able to compete back to back to back. And can you create a dynasty now?
Well, what it makes it easier for PSG is to attract top players. You talk about now competing and winning and being a Champions League winning side. So for a lot of the top French talent, when there is a hell of a lot of talent in France right now, why would you not go to PSG? You know, as one of the biggest clubs in France, and now they've put themselves on the world stage, becoming Champions League winners for the first time. So recruiting talent is going to be even more easier for Paris Saint-Germain. Bear in mind also in the demographic of where they are, they've got some of the best talents, raw talents already out there where they can get into their academy. And like you said there, Grella, with Mbappé, I think it's going to be a tough pill to swallow, because he is a Paris boy and, you know, went to the club. It didn't quite work out for him. He became bigger, to a certain degree, maybe bigger than the club. But sometimes I'd argue against this, Grella. I'd say for me and Tony, that I feel that it's clubs that create these problems. You let these players sometimes get slightly too bigger than the club and not realising the club will always be bigger than you. And I think that's what it is. You create that element of it. Any manager that goes in there now, they're already thinking, Mbappé, I've got to get him on my side. And Tony's got more experience than me in the management side point. If you go into that club, regardless how big a manager you are, this is Mbappe's club.
Yeah, but didn't Luis Enrique show that that wasn't the case? Didn't he say, actually, this is my club and you're sit on the bench?
I understand that, but my point of view properly with that is, for me, I think that was the worst kept secret in football anyway, because it looked like he was already on his way out. So for me, that was already a win-win for Luis Enrique. It's a different story if Luis Enrique got there and Mbappé just got there then. Then you're having a completely different conversation, but he'd already been there. They tried it with the world's best 3 that we've ever seen put together in a football team in the history of the game. And then now he's already linked with Real Madrid before that, and he already was on his way out. So it kind of made it easier for Luis Enrique to say, sit on the bench, son, you're not playing, and then let me give these youngsters a chance.
Just before we move on, obviously, Jeff just said there it's going to add more fire into Mbappe's belly next season. Do you think that he'll feel an extra sense of pressure, Tony?
Is that what he said?
Because
couldn't make it out.
Yeah. that is what he said. You know, Poppy, you hope, right? I'm finding it hard still. I know it's a conversation. I'm finding it hard to correlate what Mbappe's feeling right now. Like, he left the club that he wanted to leave for 2 years, right? And with regards to the club creating what he was, this is a guy that won a World Cup and then lost in the finals, right? So this is a guy that had built, this aura was built around him, because what was he, 18 or 19 when he won the World Cup? Yeah. Like this thing was, in a lot of ways, not his fault. We talk about how great Mbappé is all the time, but I don't know that his feelings change. I'm sure he's happy, as you mentioned, for some of these players, but he's in a place that he wanted to be, right? He left the place he didn't want to be at. Is there any element in there that says, for him, I don't want them to win today because it was... I sure hope not. There could be,
no,
but I just...
I would have not wanted to win.
I know you wouldn't have wanted those.
Yeah, you wouldn't have won
winning, and the team that should technically win the Champions League or be at the, you know, in the top 4 or in the final, Real Madrid, he goes to them, and now it's the year that they have a tough year.
The only reason why I say it is because next year, if Real Madrid wins the Champions League, like this conversation goes away. like it's over at this
Tony,
point, right?
I would say,
I think they're gonna win a Champions League, Real Madrid, because this is what they do.
I would say it kind of stays there though, because for me, he's one of those ones where he's a Paris boy and he wanted to win it at Paris Saint-Germain.
He wanted to, yeah. A lot of people want to win at their club, but they never do.
But there's a difference of being at Paris Saint-Germain and that and the project and other clubs, yes, then going to Real Madrid. Real Madrid historically are winners of the Champions League. And even when they presented him, they had all the Champions League trophies alongside him to say, this is what you're coming into to add, where Paris Saint-Germain never had that. So I think as a local boy, when you grow up in that city and that's, you know, the club that you kind of know, you want to be part of something new and special there. So as much as he's a legend in French football and everything that he's done, and I'm a big Mbappé fan, the Paris Saint-Germain fans are going to say thank you for what you did, but these guys who won it today, they're the ones that's going to remember. And that's going to hurt the most. He could win at Real Madrid.
The question wasn't what PSG fans will think about this team.
No, but it's for him.
The question was, what will Mbappé be feeling right now, right?
He probably will be feeling bad because he didn't win La Liga.
You don't know.
He didn't
take you out of the team. You're the best player.
You go
to the stadium.
You don't know how he's feeling right now.
Tony, it's Tony.
We're guessing. That's we're guessing. I'm guessing the other way. I'm guessing that he's where he wanted to be, and he left where he didn't want to be.
But he's competitive. He wants to win. Sorry, Grella. He wants to win, right?
So go win.
You were the main guy. You leave to join a team that won the Champions League and the league before you got there. You don't win the Champions League. You don't win the league. No one expected Barcelona to win it. And now the club that you left, where people might have seen you as the problem, goes and wins the Champions League.
We've said this 3 times already. I get the story. I know what we're talking about. This is a Twitter argument. This is a social media argument. We don't know how Mbappe's feeling. We have no idea how he's feeling right now. We're just guessing.
We don't know.
Right? So you're guessing he's feeling bad. I'm guessing he's not feeling bad.
But Tony, they take me off the show, right? They put someone else here. The show does better. How do you think I feel? I feel good or bad? I'm saying, oh wow, that's great. That's great. I'm thinking,
but you're saying that
you feel bad.
But you don't know if you're moving to another show, right? That's a bigger show.
But
we saw their show. It was not that much of a show.
I would just say this.
Then can't fit him in. I think that's also the problem is Mbappé with the disappointment of Real Madrid this season and Barcelona winning the title, and now Ancelotti is all of a sudden out the door because he can't figure out how to implement all these superstar players. It just feels like a lot of digs this year, doesn't it?
I will just say, for me, in the top players I've been fortunate to play with and play alongside, and world-class players, there's that element of competitiveness. And I don't know Mbappé or anything like that, but I feel with everything that's happened at Journey, he probably will be feeling the type of way. He will be feeling the type of way of what's happened in the situation of, I leave this. And whether he likes it or not, the media and the press will be saying, oh, look what's happened when you've left and you've gone to a club, you haven't won, and now they've won without you. So he will be feeling the type of way, in my opinion, because that's what separates these top world-class players from the rest of these players, because they've always got that competitiveness, that edge, that winning mentality to wanting to win.
So how do you know? How are we sitting here not knowing what Jeff is saying, that this won't put the fire in his belly? We're just assuming that's the other. We don't know.
No, we don't. Sorry, that is still part of an element of it. Yes, but still.
You said he's competitive, right?
He is competitive.
So what's the next thing he wants to do?
He wants to win for sure. I'm not saying he's not going to win, but right now, because you haven't won with everything that's transpired, and then the teams that you've left and have won without you, that will make you feel a type of way. You're not going to. Wait, Tony. You've been there. Wait, I'm just saying this, though.
First you said he didn't know, but now you're saying he will feel this way. Which one is it?
It's both. You can feel both. You can feel upset that you haven't won anything, and the fact that you've left to go and be successful and you're not successful, and it can still put the fire in the belly to give you that rage to go next season. It's the same way as managers. There's managers who've left top clubs, and when they leave top clubs, let's not act like they want that club to do well. They want that club to go and burn to the hell because they don't want the next person to come in to be successful.
Like Jose Mourinho just said that about Inter, right?
Players have that same mentality.
Just say about Inter he didn't want them to win the treble this year, but he wants them to win Champions League. He didn't want them to win the treble this year. I get it, but we're just sitting here assuming.
But it's the same thing for players. Players, come on, Tony, we've sat with players.
That's what we do for a living.
You've been in a dressing room where some players will leave, and they want teams to crash and burn.
You got two choices. You're saying he can have both. Okay, I get it.
He can have both.
You are pissed off because they won, and you feel like, oh, this is my fault. Well, they told him.
I wouldn't say it's his fault.
They told him. This is what the whole argument is. How much of a problem was he?
It's not.
They told him 3 months before the end of the season last year, you're not our guy. They told him because they didn't play him. So he wanted to leave. So he clearly knew 3 months ago.
Come on, Tony, that was the worst kept secret in football. He was going from like a year ago.
I understand, so they didn't play him.
Instagram, Nige, Tony.
Huh?
We're hearing Kylian Mbappé.
Hold on, this might add fuel to the argument, or it might help
I
it
can't see
out.
it from. The
What's
big
it say?
day
I
has
can't see
finally
it.
arrived. Well done to PSG. Congrats, PSG, victory with the whole club. So, Kylian Mbappé, he has to put out a statement, doesn't he?
Of course he does, because of the media. Because of the media and the people. That's it. Whether he likes it or not, the reality of players like that, they will be put under the spotlight of people in the media who will have opinions and say, this is what happened. You were there. You were the main man. You got everything that you wanted. It didn't work out. You went to join Real Madrid, the biggest club in the world. They didn't win the league. They win the Champions League. People will do that. I'm not saying he's got the human element to feel a type of way, which I personally feel that he loves PSG. He does. And I'm sure he's disappointed that he wasn't there part of the team.
It could be many
and I agree
things.
with you. That will give him the fuel to the fire.
A good French translation, by the way, there. I didn't know you know how to read French.
You. Yes, I learned French.
Did you learn that in Saint-Tropez?
I sure did. Yeah. Good translation.